Okay. So here we're back again. It's been like a month since we've had the nutrition call. So tonight we're just going to go over like a mindset kind of shift that I think is important in making with your nutrition and really in life. And then we'll answer a couple questions and then talk about what's coming up in terms of meal prep class, and we have a nutrition group starting in July. So we can kind of get on that. And then before I forget, our next call will be in 2 weeks. I believe that's the 29th, June 29th. So yeah, so we're on that 2-week schedule all summer. Okay, so the mindset shift that I wanted to talk about is a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And this is something that Mel Robbins has been talking about in the book that we're reading. Now I can't remember it, Take Control. And it's really just one of those shifts that you'll find a lot of personal development talks about. And it's a shift that's necessary to make when you're making changes in your lifestyle. So when you're thinking about growth mindset, it means it's possible with effort, right? You can shift things with your effort. Whereas a fixed mindset, you feel like it just is what it is. You're not going to change. It's not going to change. It just is what it is. And so when you're thinking about your nutrition, and you're looking or whatever your goals are, and like I like to think about in this one broad sense, when you're looking at other people, and if you think to yourself, they're lucky, they can easily lose weight, they can eat whatever they want, and they just look like that. That's a fixed mindset, right? They're clearly not doing anything. That just is what it is. But that's not really the case, right? There is something they have figured out, that there's something they do different than you do. And instead of looking at it like that, you would shift that thought to, they've figured out what works for them. Isn't that awesome that they, don't feel controlled by their food, or, or isn't it great that they can maintain their weight? Because seeing it's possible in them is the key. Because if they can do it, you can do it. That's the whole idea of a growth mindset. Someone else is doing it. It's possible for you too. It takes time and effort. So let's get into like more specific details, and maybe you guys will have some things that pop into your head. I just wrote down, so I'm just looking at my notes. That's why I'm looking down here. So maybe you'll have some more specific examples, but when I think about it, like if you're saying to yourself, I'm getting better at meal prep versus I'm just not a meal prep person, right? I can say no to a craving versus I can't control myself around, you fill in the blank, brownies, cookies, whatever. I can't control myself around chocolate. I eat veggies because they help me feel great versus I don't like veggies. I'm a person that can be happy with my body versus I hate my body. So all of those things are kind of growth, like you're working on it. With effort, you can make a change. It doesn't mean you're there. It doesn't mean it's gone. It doesn't mean it's fixed, but it means it's possible. Versus, this is just how I am. This is what I do. This is my identity, and I'm not willing to change that piece. Essentially. Are there things that, like, as I kind of went through that list, that you guys thought of that maybe people are in a growth versus fixed?
Sorry, my brain's not working.
It's all
So
right.
you covered a lot of them.
I did. I tried to get some really good examples because I think so, it's when you think of yourself as a certain way, you don't necessarily think about shifting that thought, right? You think, I'm this. That's who I am. Versus I can change that piece. And that happens in everything in our life, including nutrition, right? So there might be something that you're holding yourself back from making that lifestyle shift because you're telling yourself you're something that is unchangeable. So you're saying, like, I used to say I hate leg day, so I'd skip it. And finally one day I'm like, it doesn't matter if I don't like it. I still need to do it. And so I no longer say I hate leg day. It's not my favorite, but I do it. And so even just that little shift, it doesn't mean I all of a sudden fell in love with leg day or it's the most, like I feel amazing, but it still gets done now. And if I can keep then shifting to be like, oh, look at how strong my legs get because I did leg day inconsistently, or how it's going, my walks are better, I feel stronger. And then you can keep focusing in on the benefit versus I don't like leg day, so I'm just not going to do it kind of a thing. So
You could apply cardio to that too.
yes, I do. I do skip cardio by way of bike right now. I still get my cardio.
Yeah, but you're still doing
by
cardio.
way
You're
of
just
bike.
doing
Yeah.
a different
You're still
kind
doing
of
cardio.
I
Bike is
shifted
totally
to something.
cardio.
Yes,
Especially if you're doing JJ's 20-minute workouts, because those
Yeah,
are
they are
definitely
amazing.
cardio.
They are amazing.
Or Shanti's. Holy. Yeah.
So
So
I always say, like, ever since like I can't even remember when, but every time I would be sore, and so many people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore, I can't do it, I can't do whatever. And to me, I always look at sore as that means that I did something right, and that means that I'm going to see change. So I actually liked when I would be sore. I'd be like, yes, I'm sore. Like when I would like not be able to sit down on the toilet without, being like, oh, I felt that, like I would be like, yes, booty gains,
Right.
I literally, yes, I reframe that all the time.
Yes. Yeah, and that's exactly the key. It's like whatever the thing is, and it's going to take some thought, whoever's watching this later, it's going to take some thought of where you feel like your struggle is with nutrition. So for this example, let's just say it's meal prep, right? You're good at, seeing what recipes you want to do. Maybe you're good at grocery shopping, but the actual execution of getting the food ready ahead of time so that you have food on hand to eat versus just trying to, wing it. So if meal prep is not your jam, then it's trying to figure out, okay, what am I telling myself about meal prep that I can shift, right? Am I telling myself I don't have the time? Am I telling myself I don't like it? I don't like the prepping of things. Any of those things. Do I tell myself I'm bored with food? Whatever it is, and you take that piece, notice when it's happening, notice what you're saying to yourself, and you shift it to something else. So if it's I don't have time, okay, then do things in smaller pockets. Like if you're already cooking something, cook something else or double it. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's lots of ways to stack it together, and then your time is the same, but you have more output, right? You have more food on hand to help you through to that next time. And so it's taking those little shifts, noticing it. Okay. Like I just heard myself say it, shifting it. And you're going to have to do this multiple times, because you are in a habit of being on a fixed mindset about a certain thing. So then you shift it, focus in on what you can do, shift that thought, and put the action to it, right? So if it's the meal prep and you don't have enough time, so then practice making something extra. There's a lot of times I'll be cooking my lunch and I'll just throw on a pot of brown rice because it takes 50 minutes. And I'm like, I'll just throw it on, set a timer. And then now I've got brown rice for later when I need it, because maybe I'll have some other meal that's super fast, but I really wanted brown rice with it, but I can't wait 50 minutes, things like that, where it's just, if it's not done, then it's not done. Buying things already chopped at the grocery store, buying things already ready, right? There's lots of ways to shift that piece, and it's just focusing in on changing it. And I think as you learn to do it with one thing, you learn to do it with multiple things, right? Because then you'll start seeing, oh, okay, I can just shift this. But if you're trying to change everything all at once, then it feels overwhelming and like, I'm never going to get there. And then we're back to the fixed mindset of this is too hard, right? So it's making sure you're kind of giving yourself that ability to succeed and give yourself, some wins. Let me see what I have here that I didn't cover. Oh, I think I did it. Wow, I think I did it. Okay. Yeah. So as you're watching this back, think about that. Think about something that's going to make a big difference for you and get specifics. Like, so if it is, back to our example of meal planning, if it is meal prep, then what specifically is it? Are you not sure what to prep? Are you wanting multiple things? Are you don't have the time? What is the piece you're telling yourself, and get really specific about it. And if it's something where you're kind of like, I feel like I'm not sure what to do or how to do it, then that's a great time to reach out to your coach or the nutrition chat and just say, hey, how do you guys do this? Because then we can all throw out our ideas and how we handle it, because what's going to work for you may be, a little different than what works for other people, and you can tweak it to work in your life. So to close on the growth and fixed, sometimes I feel like we don't necessarily hear it. So kind of start tuning into what you're saying to yourself about places you feel like you're struggling. And then you'll hear where you have a growth mindset, where you have a fixed mindset, where you're encouraging yourself to put the effort in, and where you're just thinking, this is it, I'm stuck, it's done. It's kind of like, I feel like I'm hearing it a ton lately. I'm in these menopause groups and I feel like I hear it all the time. Well, I'm in perimenopause, or I'm in menopause, so my metabolism's crap, so I'm just gaining weight. Right? It's just done. That's really not all that's happening. So, we can all talk about in another call. But so
that's a huge one. I hear that one all the time.
Huge. And I had kids, so this automatically happens to my body, or this happens, right? There's lots of things we just stop with and just accept, where there are things we can make changes to feel better, to help ourselves. So just tune into that piece of it and think about what works, what that one thing is that you can work toward this summer. Okay. So then, I was going to cover a couple questions we've seen in the group. And since we're on, all the nutrition meal prepping already, let's talk about like meal planning, meal prepping. One of the questions I had was about, what if you're bored with your food? And so for me, I personally, that means I need to throw in a new recipe or change it up, right? Because clearly I'm only thinking about the same things to make, and I'm just kind of like, well, that doesn't sound very exciting. So that's when I go hit the Body app and check out the Fixate recipes, check out the To Be Mindset recipes. They come out all the time. And I have been so impressed with the level of flavor and deliciousness of all the recipes I've tried. I'm kind of blown away by some of them, that I, once then they become part of the rotation. And so I just try to like throw something different in. I don't know, is that kind of how you guys do it too?
Yep. I go and search for, okay, chicken sounds good tonight. So I'll put chicken, and the blog will come up with a ton of different answers, or Fixate will come up with a ton of different answers. And yeah, that's how I try something new. Or I say, okay, I have a bunch of veggies and this, meat, whatever it is, protein, and then search that way. So, but yeah, there's so many recipes available in the blog. It's crazy how many. And like you said, they come out with new recipes every Monday, I think it is, for To Be and Portion Fix. And so there's so many available.
So many good ones.
So what we do is basically like, if it's something that, if I'm tired of something, I will just tweak it a little bit. Like I won't necessarily throw it all out. I will be like like the whole idea out. I will just change one aspect of it, which may mean that I change the style of protein, or I change one or more of the veggies, or I add a different veggie in, or like we eat Mexican twice a week, and we've done that for like, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. But changing the salsa, changing if I put in a jalapenos or banana peppers or black olives, or if I, save cheese and put cheese on there, or avocado or whatever. I just change an aspect of the dish. And generally speaking, just changing up one aspect of it is good enough to get me through whatever
Yeah.
hump.
Yeah, I was gonna say that same kind of idea with bowls, for lunch. Like I make a Mediterranean bowl often, but I use what I have. So sometimes that means I only have beans, and maybe I don't have brown rice, or maybe I have beans and brown rice, or maybe I have brown rice and chicken, or beans and chicken, or and I can change up the vegetables. I can decide to put herbs in it. I can decide to leave the herbs out and just do lemon juice and oil. And there's all kinds of ways to kind of change up that one thing, especially when you're doing bowls, to
Right.
make it just a little bit different.
Yep.
And
Yep.
keep it going. And so then another question too, kind of along those lines, was about quick meals. And what do you do when you don't have enough time? Mediterranean bowl is actually I don't have any time, but I always have these things in my kitchen. I always have cherry tomatoes and cucumber and some type of garbanzo bean. So I will use that as a protein if I don't have another protein, or I'll add it to another protein. But like those are things that just are always in my kitchen, and it doesn't take me very long, and it doesn't take any cooking. I can just whip it up, throw it in the bowl, mix it up, and it's there. What kind of stuff do you guys do for quick meals?
My favorite is the cooked chicken at Costco. Comes in a bag already cooked up, and it's not quite shredded, but it's chunks of chicken meat, white chicken meat, and I can put it in the fridge until I needs to go in the freezer if I don't use it all, and then I can just thaw it from the freezer. But I use that in bowls and stir fries and burrito wraps and scrambles. It's just makes it so easy, and it's already cooked, so you just have to heat it up.
Mhm.
Makes it very easy. They also have a quinoa salad, which I really like as well. And it just makes it easy. And every time I go to Costco, I get one of each of those,
Right.
because I always easy to have it on hand. And again, the quinoa salad doesn't save, but the chicken does save. And my husband uses it in his favorite quesadillas, and the kids use it on nachos and different things. So it's definitely goes everywhere in our house, in our meals. So super easy to use.
Yeah. And even like something as simple as like if you have a bag of frozen vegetables and some chicken sausage, right? That's going to take all of like 10 minutes to heat up in a skillet and be ready. And Autumn did a reel about that the other day, that's her favorite breakfast right now, is doing some turkey bacon, or maybe it was regular bacon and a sausage and some frozen veggies.
Yeah.
So,
It looks like a regular bacon.
Yeah. Which I was also like, you put that in after you did the veggies? I'm like, no.
I know. I was like, I would have started with
first.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but
We all would put the bacon in first.
It's one of those things where, you kind of figure out some of these staples you need to have on hand so that you can do the quick things. And it really
right.
Here's another kind of growth fixed, right? Maybe if in the past you would hit the drive-through because you told yourself you didn't have enough time. I started telling myself, I'll just have these things on hand, because it will take me less time to just whip this up at home than go sit in a drive-through and, come back. Because
right.
you're still taking time going through that drive-through. And if you know you have those things at home and you can just whip them together, then you just shift that mindset to say, I'm going to feel better. This is going to taste just as great. And I'm going to feel great that I did it. So I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, one of
Right.
the things I always do is I always try to buy 2 or 3 cans of garbanzo beans, not just one. Because that way I always have some in my pantry. I always have the artichoke hearts. I always have the palm hearts. Because I buy 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah,
So that when super easy to pull those out and make my bowls with them. So
exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there'll be times
We buy
where I'll come home with a can of tomatoes every time and it just is what it is. And then I stop buying for a little while. You know what I mean? Like the worst
Yeah.
part is that maybe
I
you get
do
a
the
little
same thing.
surplus, but you're ready.
Yeah. I'll buy flats of black beans because we go through black beans so much. So I'll buy flats of them and then I'll just get like 2 or 3 at a time. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my gosh, we're really down. I need to buy another flat. But we pretty much always have brown rice already made in a container. It's like it's in my refrigerator. If it's empty, that means brown rice needs to get made.
Exactly.
And we use a rice cooker and it's done. It's a done thing. We will bulk cook chicken and like we do boneless, skinless chicken breast. We either grill or bake it. We've been on a grilling kick recently, but we either grill or bake it, and then we slice it in half, and then we will portion some of them and freeze them. And those will go into our freezer for emergency, basically. And so we can do that at any point in time. We always have frozen vegetables. I cook frozen vegetables most nights a week. And so those are really, really super, super simple. If you like to microwave your food, then that's even quicker.
Right.
And then, but even if you don't, then it's still super quick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
especially like rice cauliflower, it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's so fast.
well, and the
Um,
nutritional value of frozen veggies is actually really excellent. People
Yeah.
don't realize
Yeah,
that.
it's higher. It's
Yeah.
higher. Yeah. Right. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, we bulk cook pretty much all the time. We do not worry about overcooking because then that just means it will go in our lunches throughout the week. So,
And once
and
you
yeah,
get
and you can
doing
even
this
freeze.
for a little bit, you you get a rhythm and you get a system. So if you're feeling like, but I don't know how much, I don't know when or what, just do it a few times, right? Like this is where the practice comes in, because once you've done it a little bit, then you're like, oh, okay, I'll adjust this here. This worked great for us. We had enough for this time. You know, all of that kind of information will be there. It's just, it takes doing it.
Right. And rice and quinoa can freeze. So like if if you feel like, oh my gosh, I cooked way too much, well then take a bunch of it and stick it in the freezer and it will be just as good when you pull it back out. It doesn't change it at all,
Yeah.
which is very
How do you
nice.
thaw it out?
Yeah.
How do you
What?
thaw it out?
You
I've
just
never
let
tried
it
it.
thaw. Yeah, you just set it on the counter and let it
Just
thaw.
take it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or
Never-
put it in your
I've never tried.
refrigerator if you've got plenty of time. It just depends on how fast you need it. But yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And or you can also use it for your breakfast. Quinoa or rice. There's porridge recipes. Quinoa with fruit and coconut is delicious. Like it can be converted into breakfast easily too.
I've been using quinoa with my Shakeology, and
Oh,
it's so good.
That's a good
Quinoa,
idea.
Shakeology, and water. It's like a porridge.
Yeah.
It's like a porridge. It's so yummy.
Whenever we had
So
extra
good.
quinoa, because nobody in my family like loves it. So that if I make too much, then I'm kind of on my own. But if I make these zucchini muffins with it, so it's just quinoa, egg, shredded zucchini, and a little bit of cheese, and then you bake them in these little muffins, like they disappear like crazy. Everyone loves them. I think that recipe might even be on like the blog. I can't remember. I think it was a Beachbody recipe. So,
and I do the same type of stuff for desserts too, because like, so my youngest, he can't just have regular store-bought desserts for the most part at all. So I don't really have the, oh, well, just grab something. I have to create the just grab something in my
right.
freezer. And so a lot of the recipes that you can make on Fixate, which I do, like the muffins and the chocolate muffins and the there's brownies, there's cookies, there's multiple things, and they all freeze. They
Mhm.
all freeze fantastic. And then you don't have to worry about, oh, well, but I won't eat all 12 of them. Or then I'll feel like I need to eat all 12 of them. We'll eat your one and then wrap them up a couple times, stick them in a freezer bag, and they taste just as good when you pull them back out of the freezer.
Yep, definitely.
So,
I would wrap them up before you eat them. That way it's not easy to grab another one, personally.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'd be speaking from experience.
I have a one
Especially with the
night
candy
rule.
bars.
Leave them out for the first night and then whoever eats it and however many get eaten and then the rest go in the freezer. So along those lines too, one more question we had was about like how do you kind of get going on the meal prep, meal planning? I think we're all a little bit different on this one, so we can all kind of chime in. I'm a wing it kind of person. I like to look at what's on sale that week. I like to change things up often, and I like to plan probably 2 to 3 days out at the max. I don't go for a full week. I know maybe this is my fixed mindset, but I know I like to eat different things than what I thought I did 3 days earlier. So I tend to switch it up a little more. So I will get like different meats on sale that week and then plan around that. Like maybe, you know, if there's pork tenderloin on sale, then I'll go and look at Fixate and be like, okay, what sounds good this week with pork tenderloin? And that's kind of how I go through and do it. Plus using things we already have on hand that need to be used up. And that's kind of how I start things and go through my week. And then as the week progresses, I just kind of keep doing that. We end up at a store about every day because that's just how we have decided to shop. And you know, with 4 of us eating most of the food, then you know, it's like things disappear a little faster. So you just have to make more stuff for lunch or more stuff for dinners and figure it out. What's your system, ladies?
we
I
shop.
love the meal prep class because it makes me plan ahead. Other than that, I wing it like you do. So
And
the
I
week
we
of
should
meal
say,
prep, I'm
right,
planned
like
out.
winging it is a little different than fully winging it because like we've said previous in this call, we always have certain things on hand that make it possible that there isn't ever really nothing to make, right? Like there's just always
No.
things you have on hand so that doing something quick or creating a meal is still pretty simple.
I'll rephrase winging it. I
Yeah.
always have the veggies on hand. I always have good healthy proteins on hand. So when I go to the store, I make sure that I have all those so that I can make something that is so I don't have my meals all planned out, and that's
Right.
the winging it part, but I always have all the staples that I can make them whatever meal I want to at the time. So
Yeah,
or bowl.
exactly. Yeah.
Bowls are fantastic. You can put
Best
anything
things ever. Anything you want.
Yep.
Any flavor combination, it's brilliant. Oh, is that Pebbles?
No, this is Onyx.
Oh, Onyx is the other one now. Okay, I love it.
Yep. Chase decided he wants Onyx. So Pebbles and Onyx. Yep. They're exploring out. This is the first time they've been outside on the deck. So
Oh.
they're very interested, trying not to fall off the 3rd floor.
I know Bev has a much more regulated system than us, so I'll let you walk
Oh,
us
yes.
through.
Tell us, please. Share your system for the
We-
people that want to be more regulated.
We basically shop at our stores once a week. So once a week, Scott will go to Sam's. Once a week, I will go to Aldi and Schnucks, which Schnucks is like a local grocery store, local chain grocery store. And that's pretty much where we do most of our shopping. We will hit a Trader Joe's, like, I don't know, once every so often if we are out of certain items. Like that's where we get our quinoa. That's where we get our rice milk. Um, there's just certain things that we get at other places. Like if we absolutely have to, we'll go to Walmart to get jicama because it might not be good at Schnucks. And yeah, I mean, there's just certain, but for the most part, we just shop once a week, and we just get a lot of staples. We get spinach, we have a lot of food sensitivities. So like I don't eat beef, we don't eat pork. And so, and pretty much everybody else in the household will eat chicken. I haven't been eating chicken, so I eat fish or shrimp. And so that's, or ground turkey. So we always have those types of things on hand to be able to make. And when they start to run low, then we get more. We are the typical Midwesterner family household that has more than one refrigerator. We have the garage fridge, except it's not a garage fridge, it's a basement fridge. And it's not full of beer or soda, it's full of food. Like the spillover, what we can't fit into our upstairs refrigerator, but it gets used, it doesn't go bad. And yeah, so we buy our essentials. I will pick up extra like different vegetables and stuff when I go to the grocery store based on if they're on sale and we have the time allotted to be able to do something with them that week. If I look at a week and I'm like, there is no freaking way that I have time to add this to this week, then I'm not going to bother picking it up. Because I know, like, if I want to do rutabaga fries or something, that takes me having to peel a rutabaga and cut it up and marinate it and all that. And it's like, that's way too much work for this week. Or I'll do it. It just depends on the week. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It also saves us money because we know, like, this is what we're shopping for. So when we only go in once a week, we're not tempted by all the other stuff in the aisles. Whereas like to be quite honest, I'm no longer tempted. I'm at that stage in my life, but I went through several years of being tempted by everything. And you know what? If I go to the store when I'm hungry, I'm going to buy more stuff that I don't need. So that's another thing. I never go to the store hungry, ever. I will eat a Beach Bar on my way into the store if I'm hungry. That's like how much I'm like, do not go to the store hungry.
Exactly. Yeah. So. And then you also have specific nights where you tend to make things, right? Like you have 2 Mexican nights, you said. So, you know, you can also do it that way, right? Where if you don't like to think about different things to make and there's things you like, then you incorporate those things on certain days and it becomes the routine. You know, if you find like you have decision constipation with things and you're just like, I can't just, you know, think about what to make, then maybe those are nights where, you know, you just kind of make sure you have either the same plan or a similar plan so that you're not having to spend that extra mental energy, you know, working on it.
Right. So like Tuesdays used to be Mexican and Thursdays used to be Chinese, but then everybody started to not like the Chinese vegetables. So then we just were like, okay, Mexican 2 nights then. Bam. And then on the weekends, we tend to grill because Scott usually is the one that grills. And then if we need to, he will make extra and then we will warm up the protein in the oven. And we usually make vegetables fresh pretty much every single day because we then eat them the next day for lunches and stuff too. So
yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, good. I think we kind of covered all the bases on that one. Is there any other questions that you know of that we should answer tonight?
No, we covered meal prep and planning and
yep, quick foods. Yeah. Okay. So so the next meal prep class is July 9th. And that will be a gut protocol friendly meal prep class because ta-da, in July, we have a gut protocol group starting. And so it's been, I don't know, probably 8 months, maybe even longer since we did a group together, like we did last year when this program came out. So I'm kind of excited about it because it is really fun to do it together, to share meals, to talk about what you're doing, to talk about the new things you're trying. And then especially if you're having, you know, if it's your first time going through the program, if you have questions about what's happening, why you're doing it, you know, what the rules are, that kind of stuff. So that group, the pre-week, the prep week starts July 3rd. And so during that week, it's just about getting your stuff, learning, getting the group together. Toward the end of the week, we will, you know, make sure we have the groceries on hand, because then on the 9th, we'll meal prep 3 to 4 things. And then there'll be some things you'll want to prep in addition. And then we'll officially start then on the 10th. So that'll be a great time. All the fresh veggies and fruits in season. It'll be a great time to really focus in on those good fresh foods, where, you know, whatever's at your locally for you at your markets. But it'll be nice. Everything will be delicious because it'll be closer to in season. And then trying to think if there's anything else. That's the group happening. And at this point, that's kind of our only time of doing the gut protocol. So I would say if it's something you've been thinking about doing, then I would definitely jump into this group, because we just had a much, I would say everybody had better results. They stuck to their plans better. They had people to talk with about it. It's just way more community around it and helps you start something new. So definitely think about that as we're getting into it. And if you also need to renew, we still all have that $30 code through the end of June. So you can take advantage of getting a better rate for things too. Okay. And then what's our thing tomorrow? Our Funky Friday.
Veggie.
Oh, it's veg.
Favorite
I love
veggie?
So take a picture of your veggies tomorrow.
Yep. Show your favorite veggies.
Show your veggies tomorrow, and maybe off your new growth mindset, because you're like, I'm ready to try a new veggie, or I'm ready to expose myself to a veggie I thought I didn't like, and I'm going to try it in a new way. Right? So you can take a picture of that tomorrow, post it on there. Tell us how you made it, what it is. It'll be perfect. We can see all of the good options.
Gotta come up with a good veggie.
I know.
Might have to go to the store.
Yes. Get something unique you haven't tried before.
That would not be possible for me locally. I would have to go to somewhere else.
So Schnucks doesn't even have like different stuff?
No, I mean, I've just tried, like, if I see something new, I'm like, oh, what is this? We need to try this. Yeah, that's how I am. So. Yeah.
All right, good. Well, I'll stop recording, and then everybody can watch it back. Have a good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.